If you are staying on track all day, but the evening comes and you're losing control, you're not broken. It's not about the willpower, it's a very predictable step. Today, in this video, I will be discussing why nighttime eating happens and what are the tools you can use to prevent it. Let's start from why nighttime binges happen and why they feel very automatic. Because it has several reasons. First, it is that you have been disciplined all day. You most likely have been on a diet plan, or you have been starving yourself, creating the restriction on purpose so you can eat less, you can have less binge episodes, you can lose weight. And what happens is that discipline wears out throughout the day. The worst part about nighttime binges is the amount of shame which makes you stay awake throughout the night. I know it because it happened to me. I used to be a nighttime binger. Why it happens? Let's start from the fact that nighttime is usually a free time. You are free from work, you are in a relaxed state, you're at home, so in a safe environment, more or less, and you have more time to listen, to dial down, to listen to yourself, and this will just come up. Second thing is the restriction. Most likely you are under eating throughout the day. That's why night hunger makes you physically feel so hungry that when you start eating, your signals in the body are delayed because you have been starving for a long period of time and now you don't notice that you are already full. This notice is delayed. And one of the most controversial things that I didn't expect I had to do when I started working with a client were the fact that almost all of them were under eating. They were eating less than they supposed to, even though they had a weight problem and they were stuck on the same weight. Increasing the amount of food you eat, but don't increase it throughout the evening, increase it throughout the day. Like having meals which make you feel full throughout the day prevents overnight binges. Decision fatigue is the third very important one because you had to make decisions throughout the day. Every move is associated with the decision, and now you're tired. Now thinking what to cook, choosing what to eat, like where to eat is as well. It's all the decisions, and now it's so tiring. So instead of cooking something which takes your time, which takes your energy, which takes your decisions, you're just gonna order the takeout. Rituals. This usually involves relaxation time in the evening. We all have rituals, evening rituals, like you go home from work, you sit down and watch your favorite TV show. At the same time, you're having a snack because it's a habit. So you have these patterns, you have these rituals and habits around food which show up on the evening mostly. And the last one is emotions. In the end, binges don't happen if you are able to regulate your emotions. So all stress which you collected throughout the day, all the emotions collected, you're gonna show them in the evening. Dinner time is a family time, and for some people, dinner represents connection. They represent the love and coziness because they get to eat with their family. For other people, family gatherings may be subject of stress, sadness, loneliness even. So the tension which that meeting brings can be regulated by the food. So maybe family meals are part of the reason why you might be binging in the evening. The turning point, why I have it separately here, is that I really cannot say it enough that binges has nothing to do with willpower. So I really would like you to stop blaming yourself and see it from the different light where maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's just the situation you ended up with and food is the only way you know how to deal with it for now. Because I'm about to give you the tools which will help you deal with this. First thing is eat enough earlier so night hunger is not extreme. When you feel physically less hungry, it is easier to stop for the evening when you have a food. I would like you to have a structured meal. Like, are you having fulfilling breakfast and lunch? So for the dinner time, you're not hungry. Default dinner plan to remote decisions. This will be one of the biggest changes if you know in advance what is the food you want. Not the fact that, oh, tonight I would like to have a cake, so let me go home and bake it. That's not gonna work because it will take hours for you to bake the cake. I want you to have a dinner plan which involves specific food and you have the ability to prepare it or order it. If you have it pre-prepared, it's the perfect scenario, but I don't meal plan, so I cannot ask you to do that. Plan for the dinner. Give yourself 2-3 options, which will be simplest to make. And you can change them anytime you want. The next tool is to break TV snack autopilot. It doesn't involve only TV, right? TV is just an example here. Anything that distracts you. I would recommend not getting distracted when you're having food. That was very difficult for me to do, but the moment I started doing it, my life changed because I realized I am full with the less amount of food. Sometimes I will have 3 bites and I'm not hungry anymore. That's fine. Sometimes I eat 2 plates. That's also fine. But I'm very aware when I'm hungry physically and when I stop feeling hungry. That's why my binge episodes don't come anymore. I have been binge free from June 2025, so it will make it 8 months. Eat first, then you can have your entertainment. Or pre-portion during the eating. You choosing that I will have this medium-sized bowl of candy or chips, popcorn, whatever it is that your go-to snack is, and you're not gonna add more. And that creates very good balance. You get to fulfill the need you have to eat something when you're doing, when you are gaming, for example, and you will still end up not eating too much to the point where it moves into a binge episode. 2-minute interrupt before more food. I used to do this technique when I was going home extremely hungry and tired after work. At that time, I was working shift work, so my day usually looked like me working 24 hours, and I was so hungry when I was at home that I would go straight to the kitchen and eat things that I could see in there. So what I started doing was to create the interruption. Like, first, go take a shower, then you can go have a food. Sitting down and resting for 5 minutes was something that gave me the biggest advantage because when I was resting, at the same time I was thinking what type of food would make me feel good, and after this I can still sleep because it wouldn't be so heavy on my stomach. And otherwise I would have eaten too much. I would have some type of binge episode because work was very stressful. I was working in hospital during the COVID, and you can imagine the level of stress, right? So food was not only my way to stop being physically hungry, but also to regulate my emotions, and creating this interruption pattern when you stop before you do something or you stop in the process is very helpful in any behavior you want to change. It doesn't necessarily have to be food related. That's a general tip you can use because interruption disrupts the behavior. Family trigger is the huge one if you're living with other people, because no matter how adorable they are, sometimes you just have a tough day and they will ask you something and you will think that they are the stupidest people on the world. And you just have to create the boundary. I know I say it and be like, it must be very easy to say, and it is very difficult to implement. I understand it. I'm still working on it. But unfortunately, that's the only way you can deal with the family members who are triggering you, except in stop interacting them, right? But if you live in the same household, it is very difficult to avoid someone or ghost someone, right? And what happens? Like, why I'm offering you these tools? What will be the outcome? First, it will be the night time binging will stop, because this switch in the nighttime will not happen anymore. The urges will get quieter and less urgent, because you will not feel the need to regulate your emotion with food anymore, because you're regulating it with other ways. You're not getting distracted. You are very focused when you eat food. So you are eating less naturally. If you are eating throughout the day, you and more often, you end up having less food for dinner, feeling less heavy, less guilty, and avoiding night binges. And treats become a choice. It's not something that you will spiral into anymore. And the fear to have treats will disappear completely. The last part is the consistency gets easier because evenings stop undoing the day. So all the work you did throughout the day, you don't feel like you ruined it anymore. Even though I don't think that you are ruining your day if you're having binge episodes throughout on the evening. I will just think that you had a tough day, and I will think that it's normal. Unfortunately, you don't think that. You think that something is wrong with you, you feel guilty, you feel ashamed, you will create the restrictive plan, you will go down this rabbit hole of hating yourself because you cannot even say no to one food, you cannot even lose weight. That's why having this consistency as the proof for your brain to show that you're not correct. I can do this. Look, I have been doing it for every evening now, will be very good way to unlearn or all nothing thinking. And let me finish by saying something extremely important. I will repeat myself and say that if nights are hard, it's not because you are weak. Evenings are just set to be hard because of all the decisions, all the things that happened throughout the day with you. And it's not the sign of weakness. There is nothing you can do with the willpower and discipline. Binges don't happen because of the lack of willpower and discipline. You cannot fix them with consistency either. That might be one of the biggest misconceptions people have about the binge eating. And you just have to learn how to change the setup. You have to find the tools that are working for you for long term. And I really hope that all the tools I gave you were useful, and at least one of them you can start implementing in your day-to-day life, because I'm sure that it will help you progress with your recovery. As we are speaking on recovery, if you want to support during a binge eating recovery, or you just want the space where you can freely talk about the binge eating without the guilt and the shame that comes with the binge eating recovery and the binge eating itself, you are free to join my free school community. I will be very happy to see you there. A link will be in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you tomorrow.